Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ian Doherty. I'm a spiritualist medium, and through this short video I want to talk about colour interpretation. I do feel it will be of note for people wishing to develop into this area or have a better understanding of the interpretation of colours as displayed within the auric field. From my point of view and my angle, ladies and gentlemen, I consider this as an area of expertise for me, having worked with colour for some 15 to 16 years. When I first started out working and developing with colour, whether displayed in my psychic art through my drawings or with the utilisation of the Aura camera, the ProGen 6000 Polaroid Aura camera, when I first started out, I wasn't scared. I asked questions. I was honest with a person. I'm getting this feeling. I'm seeing the colour blue with you, and I get this feeling. Would this make sense to you? If they said yes, I would say thank you. If they said no, again, I would say thank you. But over this process, I developed a better understanding. And it's important to note, ladies and gentlemen, that when you want to develop this, the way that you work is finding what the colours mean to you yourself. It's fine with people like myself, or when you read in books about what colours mean, but essentially it is another person's opinion. I'm just giving advice here on how you can better utilise what it means to you. Another bit of advice, if I may say, ladies and gentlemen, is if the colour blue, a certain hue of blue, a deep blue, means something to you, then it should represent that no matter who you're talking to, that hue of colour will mean the same for every single person you're talking about. For instance, if you see the colour terracotta as meaning emotional change, then whoever you see it with must therefore be, according to your understanding, going through an emotional change. It can't swap and change and mean different things for different people. It has to be the same. Having that being said, ladies and gentlemen, a little topic, or a little talk should we say, about what the colours mean. And obviously I can't go through every single colour. We don't have the time in the remit of this single short video excerpt. Reds. Now we're talking about the various hues of reds, and broadly speaking they can be very much indicative of stress, and particularly when they're associated with the yellow colour, giving a bit of a sort of a very dull orange tint. So if you see a colour with a person that is largely red tinged with yellow, then you can say that that is indeed stress. The yellow would be, okay, sorry, I'm going off the beaten track here, ladies and gentlemen. The reds with yellow indicate stress. The reds themselves can come over as being a little bit of anger or indeed tiredness. Bear in mind also, ladies and gentlemen, the feelings that you're getting when you're conveying that understanding of the colour to a person. It can be indicative of the lack of iron within the blood, hence giving tiredness and not allowing the full absorption of the oxygen into the molecule as the deficiency of the iron bond or the iron molecule itself. Terracottas, from my point of view, are very much indicative of bereavement, whether a person has passed the spirit side of life or whether through a partnership going wrong, a divorce, or somebody walking out of your life. We still grieve for them, so it's still remitted under the term of bereavement. When we're looking at the blue colours, the deeper blues and the lighter blues, when we look at the lighter, the sky blues first of all, that can be a person who is wishing to talk or indeed is very, very garrulous. They're always chatting. If however it is tinged with a little bit of grey, then that changes the whole premise of the colour, and it puts over to a person who needs to talk rather than wants to. The deeper blues, the very, very dark blues, over to the navy blue, to the the very deep blue, is indicative of a very, very deep, compassionate person. Whether they're a young person or an old person, they've developed a level of compassion through hardship, emotional and material, and therefore are able much better to associate with people on a more emotive level. There are also indications, should I say, particularly where the blue colour is shown, of a person having a good propensity for the development of trance. Normally you can say a person displaying blue in a certain area, normally around the head, would be a person who's very much a daydreamer, can just go off at the drop of a hat, and that is why we can say that there was a good development of trance should the person wish to. Greens. Now green, particularly the light green associated with the colour of the Granny Smith apples, are probably one of the most obvious and most reported colours within the auric field. I personally link it up with the endocrine system. And when you're looking at this, it is the balance of water, nutrients, all this type of thing. However, when you're looking at a deeper colour, particularly the olive colours, then that can give an indication of illness in that area. Of course, it's very much, the interpretation is very much in association with the colours that are associated with it. You can look at the verdant green. That's a very bright, vivacious green, like the colour of deep grass. That would indicate very much, with ladies in this case, of their menstrual cycle. If we look therefore now at the yellows. Now, yellows for me are always a colour of association. That is to say, it never appears just on its own. There's always a colour with it. Most often than not, it is red. The colour yellow is indicative of a lot of activity over the brain, a lot on the mind, buzz, 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 and can also be associated with nervous conditions. Not to say the person is nervous or anxious about something, but the nerves themselves. I've covered the reds, I've covered the blues, a little bit into the greens and the yellows. Now to talk about colours that are not necessarily always seen in the aura, but certainly can be felt even though they may not be seen. Browns. Browns are indicative of people who are very, very down to earth. Normally this type of person will be drawn to wearing a lot of brown colours with regularity. They like boundaries. Things have to be put in place. You're not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that, but they do speak their mind. They let you know where you stand with them, and they wish to know vice versa. It is good to say that you need to watch your P's and Q's with this type of person. Purples. Now purples are wrongly, in my point of view, and I must stress, ladies and gentlemen, my point of view, are seen as a very spiritual colour, and that is only because purples are a cardinal colour. People associate cardinals and religious people as wearing purple, therefore it must be a religious colour. From my point of view, when I've been developing and understanding it, and it's a good reason why you need to find what the colours mean to you. For myself, purple is very much on about a person who strives to be the best that they can. Not in a pedantic way, but in a way of I need to be the best. A good example of this would be if a nurse was doing hospital corners, then a person displaying a lot of purple would have to do the hospital corners exactly 90 degrees. Nothing else is good enough. But what sets it apart is another person doing the same job, not to their standards, causes them irk. They want to clarify, they want to put it right. So therefore a person has high ideals. They push themselves, really do push themselves very, very much. The colour white and the colour black are very rarely displayed into the auric field. The colour white, when people see it around a person, is purely that person's own energy level and can appear very much as in the image of the reddy black person, where there's like a little glow around them. It's the person's energies and not necessarily their colour of their aura. The white is the presence of all colours, whereas black is the absence of all colours. Both make a person feel calm, hence why salesperson, the sales reps, people in a high pressure job generally wear black and white. It helps calm them down.